Think about stuff. Beautiful. Okay, then. So when you're ready, please come to stand in the center of your mat. And let's just think about connecting in with our breathing. Whilst I set up my laptop a bit better. That's better. Okay, so nice. Focusing on your breath. Deep breath in and out, just bringing that breath right down to the base of your lungs. Just maybe closing your eyes or focusing on something still, so you can really allow your mind just to settle, and then that mind just brings its focus to your center, those internal dialogue, those thoughts, that worry, or just that list of jobs to do. We're just going to put it on pause now so we can breathe well and move with good intent this evening. Okay, now we're just going to work into some shoulder shrugs, so you can do that with your eyes closed if you wish, and we link that on to our breath. So the breath in brings the shoulders up towards the ears, and the breath out slides them down as if we're tucking them into our back pockets. Again, the breath in draws them up, and out draws them down. Now you work at your own pace. You don't need to follow my movements, because your breath is going to be your breath. Some of us take a little bit longer to get through that breath, but just make sure that breath is flowing, and we maybe start to think about that breath out, just taking it a little bit longer. So slow the shoulder shrug down, so that that breath out can really enable your nervous system just to turn the dial down a little bit, helping with our relaxation and our focus on our breathing. So we use the next one to set our shoulder position. So a slow, steady slide down, tucking into back pockets and lengthening of the collarbones. So we bend the elbows and we just start to focus in on our deep abdominal muscles now. So gently draw your lower tummy towards your spine. 2 trays of drinks. This is where we start to think about this wine, and we just start to open and close the hands. Now, as those hands open, just drawing your tummy ever so gently towards your spine, creating that sense of tension across the front of your waist. And then release. It's not a brace, it's just a gentle awareness of your abdominal wall, drawing in towards your spine and then softening as your hands come forwards. Check back in on those shoulders, make sure the shoulders are down, collarbones are long. You should feel the shoulder blades working to draw together. And now we're going to add a little bit of head movement now. So alternating a glance from left to right. So as the hands separate, we glance over to the left shoulder. And as the hands close, come back to centre. And then over to the right shoulder. Good, and just keep alternating, breathing out as the hands separate. And in as they come back together. Gently drawing the tummy towards you. And then releasing. We got 2 more on both sides. Nothing too complex, but really moving with intent and contracting that core and releasing. 1 more each side. Beautiful. Okay, we come to look forwards and we open out into our dumbwaiter, and now we take it into our Cleopatra. So shoulder blades heavy, tucking into the back pockets as we lengthen, and we close the arms. We're not going to draw them forwards again, we're going to keep them open to the sides, and we're just going to work on that lengthening now. I really want you to think about what's happening with your shoulders as your fingertips stretch away. Temptation to let those shoulders glide up, but we're going to do the opposite. So shoulder blades glide down as the arms separate, and we come back to that awareness of the center, this time working to contract that center and see if we can hold that contraction throughout. So building up the intensity of our core this time. Exhale to lengthen, inhale to close. Now let's add a squat as we open and close. Lovely. Tummy draws in to lower down, and then pelvic floor switches on to come back to stand. Good stuff. Options to make it shallow or take it deep, your choice. Maybe you want to build into these. Maybe you're feeling pretty good today and you want to take those squats quite deep straight away. So equal weight through both feet, push back into your heels, make sure those knees are pointing forwards. We don't want any collapsing in, and you've got little blueberries underneath the arches of your feet, keeping those blueberries from being squashed. We've got 4 more. Well done. Exhale, tummy to spine. Inhale, push back up to stand, pelvic floor engaged. Lovely. 3 more. Maybe you can go a bit deeper now. You've warmed up. 2 more. Beautiful. Holding this next one. So maybe you're here, sitting just into your knees, or maybe you're deeper down into that squat. Bringing your focus to your lower back, make sure your tailbone is tucked underneath so you've got a nice long spine. We're going to turn the palms down to face the floor now. We're really working just to draw the tummy towards the spine as we circle through the arms. Gentle drawing of the shoulder blades in towards the spine. Keep circling, nice long necks, looking a couple of feet in front of you. Keep circling those arms, keep breathing. Tummy drawn in for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to change direction with those arms. Keep them lifted if you can. Bring them down if you need to. Shake them out and draw them back in for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely. Coming up to stand and giving those arms a little shake through. Good stuff. So getting the blood pumping now. We're going to just do a little bit more in standing, and then we come down to the mat to work the abs. So I want you to take a nice long stand, step forwards with your left foot. I'll turn side on now, but you can stay where you are. So left foot in front of right, and make sure your feet are hip distance apart. So we're not closing that position down. We've got that nice alignment with feet, knees and hips all stacked under the pelvis, okay? You've got the weight going between the centre of your feet, so you're not sitting back into your front foot or forwards into sitting into your back or front foot. We're nice and in the middle, and we create that nice tall posture that we know so well now. So growing up through the crown of your head, arms down by your side, tummy towards your spine. We're going to just start with some nice overhead flow. So the arms come up, shoulders come down, and then hands come down with it. Lovely. Keeping that nice steady spine throughout, so you could rest a glass of wine on your head, pressing into that right heel so you can feel a lovely stretch into the calf. Maybe you're squeezing your right knee backwards, feeling that lovely length coming through the back of the leg. Good. As we keep going with these arm flows up and down. We've got 3 more. Let me see how you're doing with those. Lovely. Just checking in on the shoulders when you get to the top, straightening both knees. Lovely. 2 more. And 1 more. Now we're going to hold the hands above the head now. Watch those shoulders haven't crept up to your ears, shoulders down. Peel the weight off the back heel now so that the toe is pressed into the floor only. And we're going to bend down into that back knee, taking it into our split squat. Push down and up. So it might just be a small movement just here. Yeah, it might just be a tiny bend of those knees, or you might take it right down, maybe even down to the floor if you can. Tap your knee on the floor and push back up again. Okay, so shallow or deep. These are tough. Remember, it's a thought of traveling down to the floor and not forwards into that front knee. Otherwise, you're going to feel it in your knee. Okay, your front knee should not pass over your toes. If it does, make your step a little bit longer, but mostly focusing on bending into this back knee. Here comes the heart rate, picking up the heart rate. Arms stay above the head if you can. If you need to bring them down onto your hips, not a problem. Don't have to come all the way down to the floor, but if you are coming all the way down to the floor, try not to kind of rest when you get there. It's just a little tap down and straight back up, so we keep that tension in the legs. So if you're just tapping the doorbell with your knee. 3 more. 2 more. halfway hover. So don't come all the way down, come to where you can hover and hold. Shoulders down away from the ears, tummy drawn to spine, tuck your tail underneath for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely, back up to stand. Step your feet in and shake through those legs. Right, setting up again for the second side now. So we're going to have the left foot out behind, right foot in front, okay? Really press back into that left heel now. Really want to feel the back line of this leg as you stretch and lengthen. Tummy towards your spine, arms by your side. Let's breathe well because we've just picked up the heart rate. Let's give things a chance to slow down as we work through this lovely flowing arm movement, lifting and lowering. Hands come up, shoulders slide down towards your back pockets, tummy towards your spine, lift and lower. Nice tall posture. Looking great, everybody. We'll go for 4 more. Appreciate these little split squats are a tricky one for knees, so it really doesn't have to be a deep squat when we get to them. Also a tricky one for balance. If holding your hands above your head is too much of a challenge, use one of your hands just to brush your fingertips along the wall or hold onto the chair or wherever you're near to. Final one, we bring the hands above the head and we hold them there. Shoulders down. Peeling that left heel off the floor now, brings the weight slightly forwards. We bend and straighten into that back knee. So obviously the front knee bends at the same time, but really focus on that back knee bending down, and that's going to help you to travel down into the movement rather than forwards, which is what we want to avoid. Now those hands start that line. That line comes down to your shoulders, down through the side of your body, and we travel down to the floor in that same direction. So you could be here working super hard, or you could be here for that extra challenge. Aiming to keep the kneecaps in line with the hips, so no inward caving of the knees. Keep that blueberry nice and lifted underneath your front foot. We've got 4 more. These are tough. 3 more. 2. And hold this last one, shallow or deep. Tummy tucked in, tail tucked under for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely, slowly come up and step your feet back together. Oh dear me, I do not enjoy those, but they are so important. Okay, coming down onto the mat now, we're just going to take it straight down with 1 roll down. So take your time, and then we're going to come down into our rest position. So starting in standing, nice deep breath in, and then exhale, slowly start to peel down through your spine. Hopefully you've got a good amount of blood pumping through those legs, but as we're only doing 1 roll down, just be kind to yourself. You don't need to go too deep into it. Slowly peeling down until you feel the need to bend your knees, so you can place your hands on the mat as we walk them forwards. And we come down onto our rest position, so lying on your back, knees bent, feet hip distance apart. Okay, a little bit of pelvic floor pelvic tilting, because we haven't really opened up the back yet. So when you find yourself in your rest position, just working on and off the small of your back. Not only does that mobilise the spine, but it brings a sense of awareness to that part of your body. If you've been fairly sedentary today, then your brain's kind of picture of what's going on in this part of your body might be fairly still, and being able to dissociate between all the joints in your spine is really important. So we want to find that neutral spine now, so somewhere in between those 2 positions. Imagine you had a sponge in the small of your back, you were gently pressing into that sponge. Try not to squash the sponge completely, but don't lift off the sponge either. Tray of drinks resting on your waist. Okay, back to that tray of drinks now. Deep breath in as you breathe out, gently drawing lower tummy towards your spine. And we're just going to take it into some tabletops. So we float 1 leg off the floor, foot floats away from the floor, and the knee stacks over the hip. Now keep your tray of drinks level as you lower that foot down and replace with the opposite side. Lifting and lowering, making sure we're breathing deeply, making sure those heels stay lined up with the knees as well. Just take a pause at the end of that movement so you can check in, make sure your knees haven't come too close to you. Make sure you've got that lovely tabletop finishing position. Okay, now obviously you can make it a little bit harder by going a little bit quicker, but you've got to keep that lovely level tray of drinks resting on your waist. So as one leg lifts, the other leg lowers. We scissor midway, but without letting the back arch. Now, if your back is arching, just gently press your lower back into the mat. And if you can't do that without the back arching or it's uncomfortable, not a problem. We just take it back down a level, slowly moving the legs one at a time. Okay, we're just going to take it into this for a little bit longer. I've really loved this exercise. I give it out quite a bit for abdominal strengthening because I think it really, really focuses on that control of your pelvis. So a good one to remember if you've got a spare couple of minutes and you think, I want to work on my core, set yourself up on the floor, on the bed, on the sofa, and just come in and out of scissors. Get the legs working as well, as you can probably feel now, especially after those split squats in our warm-up. Okay, we're going to do 3 more rounds. Gently pressing into the lower back, into the mat. 2 more rounds. And then 1 more round, leaving yourself with your right leg in a tabletop position. So we'll all begin on the first level. The second level is just adding the tabletop with the left leg, but the moves are all on the right side. So I'll show you what we're doing and then you can build up. We're just going to take it into our single leg stretch and then we progress on from there. So that awareness of gently pressing the small of your back into the mat as your tummy is drawing into your spine. You stretch the foot away, squeeze the thigh, and then draw back in again. We're going to aim for quite a high foot to begin with, so lengthening to the kind of picture rail on your wall or just below the ceiling if you don't have a picture rail. I don't think many people do these days, do they? Although maybe they're coming back in. Okay, so this is option 1, exhale to lengthen tummy to spine, nice squeeze with those legs when you get to the end. Option 2, left leg just rests in tabletop position. Now what I often see, and in class what happens is as this left leg is held there, it kind of starts to get a bit tired and we see this. So we've got a lovely right leg moving, but the left leg's kind of not really strong and active. So check in on that left leg every now and again. It needs your attention, knee stacked over hip and heel raised, okay? And if the left leg in a tabletop is too much, you just place it back down on the floor and work beautifully with that right leg. How are we doing? Good stuff. Okay, so still just working on that right leg. Little squeeze of the thigh. We've got loads of double legs at the minute, but if you need to come out of it at any point, feet back down on the floor. Good work, everybody. We'll go for 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more, right leg extended away. Now we're going to challenge the lower back. So you might find the left knee needs to come down if it's lifted, but we're going to slowly lower the foot down towards the floor, okay? It doesn't have to come all the way. Any clunking in the hip, just don't let that foot come quite so low, and then we bring it back up again, okay? Squeeze the thighs, it comes down, gently pressing a little bit more with your lower back into the floor, I would say, with the weight of your leg. Not flattening it completely though. You could pull a silk scarf away from underneath your lower back, but we're maybe just pressing down a little bit more than we were earlier. You should feel the quiver as your leg comes down. I'm going to take that foot away now. I'm going to just work on 1 leg. We've got 4 more. It's okay to bring that leg down and work with better form than push through and not really get the benefit of the exercise, because we have got 1 more challenge. In fact, no, we've got 2 more challenges, 3 more. 2 more, and then we're going to hold this next one at the bottom. So you've got your right foot low down to the floor without resting on the floor. Squeeze the thigh, gently press the floor into the mat. Maybe the left leg's in tabletop, and then we're just going to hold here and hundreds pulse. So pulsing through the arms, holding and pulsing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely. Give yourselves a nice hug from there. Maybe gently rock on the small of your back. Good stuff. Very, very strong kind of sequence to build up through. So we're going to take that over to the left leg now. So set yourself up in a tabletop on that left side, and I'll come and see how you're getting on this side. So left leg starts, maybe you're going to go straight into double tabletop, or maybe you want to add the tabletop in once you're happy with that left leg movement. So remember, aiming with that foot now to the sort of top portion of your wall. The finish point is that the knees should be level, so we're not above the leg, we're not below the leg, nice and level position here. When you come back into your tabletop again, just take note of that position. It's not here, this is your final position. So always going back to that 90-90 position, tummy to spine, exhale as you lengthen, and inhale as you fold. But get to the end of that movement with purpose. Squeeze that thigh, go for it. Good stuff, nice. Well done, good double tabletops as well. Beautiful, well done, nice work. These are perfect. I've got nothing to say, so I'm going to join back in with you. We've got 3 more. 2 more, lengthen, and then we add our lower, so slowly lowering down. Keep the knee nice and straight on that left leg. Watch that tabletop on your right leg. We come up and down, gently press into the mat with your lower back, lower and lift, lower and lift. Well done everyone, good stuff. Remember, the right leg can come down if it needs to. Lower, 3 more. These are tough. Legs shaking a little bit, definitely feel the tummy working hard. It's almost like a dial, a volume dial. As you come down with that leg, the tension turns up, especially if you're doing it with that leg, your back arch. Yeah, so if you're finding that difficult, you can always place your hands in the small of your back, give yourself a bit of feedback. We've got 1 more, and then we're going to lower and hold. I'm going to lower that foot down because I'm not doing a great job of controlling that. And then we're going to pulse through the arms, okay? For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Bring your knees in towards your chest and breathe there. Okay, now I've separated this from the sequence because I really want you to focus this final exercise on control. So we'll all just stick with the same level now. Back to your rest position, back with your right leg in tabletop, but then we're going to stretch it away, 1 leg stretch. Okay, now one of those drinks that was on your tray is resting on your left knee. Really, really important now. So that left leg has got to stay super steady. Anchor your left hip into the floor. Nice stable base for your tray to rest on. Your right leg is a pencil. When you're ready, you're going to see if you can draw a circle on the wall with your pencil. Now the circle is important, but what's more important is this left leg. How quickly your left leg wants to try and join in with that circular motion, but we're going to try and keep it really separate. So really challenging activity for the brain now, less about strength, more about that coordination. 1 leg's moving, the other leg's stable, okay, and that's really going to translate into function for us. Thinking about stability on 1 leg and mobility on the other leg. Let's try circling in the opposite direction, which might throw you out a little bit, and you might need to go back to really thinking about that left leg again. Circles on the legs don't have to be big. In fact, make them small and keep them controlled. And we want a nice smooth circle with that leg as well. No hexagons, no ovals. Beautiful. Let me see. Fabulous. Nice. Well done. Yeah, hands on the front of your hips can help give you a little bit of an idea of what your pelvis is doing. Beautiful. 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. Okay, changing over now. Let's see how we get on the second side. So as I say, this isn't about strength, this is about control. So the thing that should feel the hardest about this is the thinking about it. So set your left leg up into a nice leg stretch. Decide where you're going to rest your hands, maybe on the front of your pelvis, give you a little bit of feedback. Pointing the toes on the left foot, we start to circle. Really anchor that right foot and right hip into the mat. Circle round. Breathing deeply. Maybe create a bit of an awareness of the difference between left and right. Maybe you don't have a difference, but it's uncommon for us to be completely symmetrical. This left side is definitely more challenging for me. I'm going to take it over to the opposite side now. So changing the direction of your circles, still keeping things nice and steady. Really anchoring and controlling that left hip movement with your right side. Let's go for 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. Beautiful work. Okay, back into your rest position, feet together and knees apart now. So we're just going to take it into a nice butterfly stretch. So try and allow the soles of the feet to press together. Sometimes that's challenging for us. Some of us have maybe got a little bit more movement in the hips. Now, as those knees flare apart, try not to let your back arch. So sometimes that's what happens. It gives us this perception that our hips have opened loads, but actually our backs have just changed. So keep pressing down into the back mat with your lower back. And that's going to really help us for our final abdominal challenge as we come into some abdo prep. So supporting your head with your hands, floating your elbows into your peripheral gaze, press your lower back into the floor, shorten your ribs to your pelvis and float your head and shoulders off the mat with a breath out and then lower down. Staying in that lovely butterfly stretch, knees wide, opening the hips. Come up and down with the head and shoulders, driving that movement through your tummy, ribs to pelvis, drawing your tummy towards your spine and keeping your neck and shoulders relaxed. It's that shortening motion of the ribs to the pelvis that brings the head and shoulders off the floor. Keeping the chin away from the chest, you're looking up to that picture rail again, not down towards your tummy. Gaze is lifted, and remember, you don't have to bring the head and shoulders too high off the mat. Might just be a little lift, but always driving that movement from your ribs to your pelvis. I'll go for 8 more. If you've got them, join in with me. That's 8. Keep those elbows nice and open. 7, you should just see them in your lateral gaze. Not pulling on the neck. 6, using the tummy, using the rib cage shortening. Maybe you want to use your pelvic floor as well. 5, this kind of open hip position does let the pelvic floor relax, but maybe you feel like you want to use that strength to bring you up. We're halfway there with 4. Last push now. 3, 2, with the option to hold this last one if you wish. If not, just come down and rest. So head and shoulders lifted off the mat, tummy gently drawn to spine, pelvic floor engaged, looking up to the top of the wall, holding here, keep holding, shortening the ribs to the pelvis, really feeling it in the tummy, not in the head, not in the neck, not in the shoulders. Keep holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And be coming down, and then using your hands if you need to, just bring your knees back together, feet and knees together. We finish with a nice spine twist. So just start to allow your knees to rock to one side as you press in the opposite shoulder, and then bring the knees into the center over to the second side. Good stuff. Okay, I'm just going to allow you to enjoy some movement for your lower back, twisting right and left. And obviously as we twist, we're gently bringing that stretch through the front body, across the abdominal wall. All of those exercises we've just done, just working into that muscle group. Eyes are closed or staring up at the ceiling. We just breathe now. Don't need to worry about contracting, holding, controlling. This is just about movement and breath. So I'll leave you for a moment longer just to enjoy that movement and that feeling of relaxation. Try not to let your mind wander elsewhere. few more. And then use this next one just to come onto your side, knees and hands on the same side. And just pause there for a moment. Just allow your mind to register that feeling, that sense of heaviness or softness, the relaxed sense that you've brought to your body. And just know that you can bring that sense of relaxation to yourself any time of the day with your breathing, maybe with some gentle movements. And then when you're ready, of course, bringing yourself back up to sit, or just stay there and enjoy it a little bit longer.